June 1st, 2025. While Russia was celebrating Military Transport Aviation Day, Ukraine was about to deliver the most expensive fireworks show in military history. $7 billion worth of Russian strategic bombers gone in one day. Using drones that cost less than your car payment? This is Operation Spider's Web, and it just rewrote every rule of 21st century warfare. We're talking about an attack that reached from the Arctic Circle to Siberia, closer to Japan than Ukraine. If you thought you understood modern conflict, think again. It hit airfields, air defense systems, and even the Black Sea Fleet HQ, and the kicker is how they did it. Using trucks carrying trailers, Russian drivers who had no idea they were part of the operation. This isn't just military genius, it's pure strategic poetry. Hit that like button if you're ready to dive into the most audacious military operation of our lifetime. The setup? David versus Goliath gets an upgrade. Let's talk about asymmetric warfare. Ukraine, with a military budget smaller than the NYPD, just crippled Russia's strategic bomber fleet. How? By thinking like hackers instead of generals. Traditional military thinking says you need big weapons to destroy big targets. Ukraine said, "Hold my beer," and used $500 drones to destroy $250 million bombers. That's not just cost-effective. That's economically devastating. While Russia was building massive, expensive weapon systems, Ukraine was mass-producing flying smartphones with explosives. 4.5 million drones planned for 2025. That's not an army, that's a swarm. And before we go further, smash that subscribe button because this story is about to get wild. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment operation. This was an 80-month chess game played across the largest country on Earth, and Putin never saw it coming. For a year and a half, Ukrainian operatives were smuggling 150 drones, 300 explosive payloads and modular launch systems all across Russia. Right under the nose of the FSB, they built custom wooden cabins that looked like standard cargo. They hired Russian truck drivers who had no idea what they were carrying. And they set up command centers literally next to FSB headquarters. The audacity is breathtaking. And here's my favorite part. They trained their AI using Soviet aircraft in Ukrainian museums. They took pictures of these old planes, these museum pieces, and used them to target real bombers. You can't make this stuff up. What do you think? Is this the most creative military operation in history? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk tech. These weren't billion-dollar stealth bombers. These were Ukrainian OSA drones, essentially souped-up hobby quadcopters with military-grade attitude. The software running them is open source and available to anyone. The computers are Raspberry Pis, which you can buy on Amazon for $40. And the 4G modems are standard consumer tech. And the AI was trained on museum aircraft because why not? So the entire operation cost less than what Russia spends on one bomber and maintenance. But the psychological impact is priceless. Every truck in Russia is now suspect. Every cargo shipment is a potential threat. And Ukraine weaponized paranoia itself. That's next-level strategic thinking. If this blows your mind like it blew mine, hit that like button. Stick around because the train attack is even crazier. You thought hitting airfields was impressive? Ukraine said. Hold our borscht and did it again, this time with a train. Picture this. A Russian military train loaded with 13 tanks and over 100 armored vehicles. Suddenly, the grain car hatches open and drones swarm out like mechanical wasps. Boom. $100 million. In military hardware becomes very expensive scrap metal. Same Trojan Horse concept, different target. Wooden sheds became grain cars, airfields became railway lines, but the genius remains the same. Use Russia's infrastructure against Russia. And here's the strategic kicker. They didn't just destroy the cargo, they took out the locomotive. Russia has 20,000 locomotives total, but only a fraction can carry heavy military equipment. Each loss is irreplaceable. This isn't just tactical brilliance. This is proof of concept. Ukraine just showed they can hit anything, anywhere in Russia using methods Russia can't defend against. And that is why this war will be lost. Russia's biggest problem is no longer its military or economic weakness. It's geography. Russia is 17 million square kilometers. That's not an advantage anymore. That's a liability. This map shows targets that Ukraine could potentially hit with their long-range missiles. Belaya airbase was 4,500 kilometers from Ukraine. That's closer to Japan than it is to Kiev. If Ukraine can hit there, they can hit Moscow, St. Petersburg, Vladivostok, anywhere. Nuclear facilities, targetable. Oil refineries already hitting them. Weapons factories in range, naval bases. Ask the Black Sea Fleet. Oh wait, they already relocated because of Ukrainian drones. This is why Russia now faces an impossible choice. Either inspect every vehicle that enters and leaves, Russia and paralyze their economy, or accept that Ukraine can strike anywhere at any time, and Ukraine wins either way. What do you think Putin's nightmares look like now? Let me know in the comments. Let's do some math that should terrify Russian generals. Each Ukrainian FPV drone costs $500. Each Russian Tu-95 bomber costs $250 million. That's a 500,000 to 1 return on investment. In poker terms, Ukraine just went all in with pocket twos and won the jackpot. But it gets worse for Moscow. Every defensive measure costs millions. Counter-drone systems, enhanced security, logistics disruption, it all adds up. Ukraine is essentially forcing Russia into economic death by 1,000 cuts. And it gets even more expensive for Russia as Ukraine plans to produce 4.5 million drones in 2025. Even if Russia stops 99% of attempts, that leaves 45,000. Successful strikes at $500 per drone, causing millions in damage each. This isn't just asymmetric warfare. This is economic warfare disguised as military tactics, and it's devastatingly effective. Subscribe if you're enjoying this strategic breakdown because the implications get even crazier. Ukraine didn't just attack Russian aircraft, they attacked Russian psychology. That might be the most devastating damage of all. Look at the Russian response. Mass truck inspections, highway traffic jams, officials calling for nuclear retaliation over drone attacks. That's not confidence, it's panic. Every cargo truck is now a potential threat. Every delivery driver is suspect. Ukraine turned Russia's own logistics network into a source of paranoia. You can't defend against that with missiles. Russian military bloggers compared this to Pearl Harbor. But Pearl Harbor was the start of a war. This is Ukraine proving they can bring the war to Russia's doorstep anywhere, anytime. The psychological message is clear. If Ukraine can hit strategic bombers in Siberia, what can't they hit? Putin's bunker, Kremlin, Red Square. The fear itself becomes the weapon. This isn't just about Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine just handed every small nation the blueprint to challenge superpowers. The implications are staggering. China planning to invade Taiwan? Taiwan just learned how to turn cargo ships into drone carriers. North Korea threatening South Korea? Seoul now knows how to hide drones in Kim Jong-un's supply chains. NATO is already studying this operation. Military academies worldwide are rewriting their textbooks. Ukraine didn't just win a battle, they evolved warfare itself. The old rules are dead. Geographic distance is meaningless. Air superiority is irrelevant. Massive military budgets can be defeated by garage innovation and creative thinking. This is what asymmetric warfare looks like in the 21st century. And Ukraine just proved that David doesn't need a bigger slingshot. He needs a smarter one. What do you think this means for global security? Drop your predictions below. So where does this leave us? Ukraine has fundamentally broken modern warfare. They've proven that cheap, creative technology defeats expensive, traditional military power. Just show me one more image of Ukraine's drone production, innovation centers. This is where the future of warfare is being written. And Russia is trying to play defense in a game where the rules change daily. For Russia, every day this war continues. Their strategic position weakens. Every airfield, every naval base, every weapons factory is now a potential target. Ukraine has turned Russia's size from an advantage into a vulnerability. But here's the really scary part for Putin. Ukraine is just getting started. They're talking about expanding drone production, developing new autonomous systems, and perfecting these Trojan Horse techniques. This is how Ukraine just David and Goliath the entire concept of superpower military dominance. If this analysis opened your eyes to how warfare is changing, you absolutely need to subscribe and hit that notification bell. This is the kind of strategic breakdown you won't get anywhere else. So what's your take on Operation Spider's Web? Revolutionary genius or just the beginning? What targets do you think Ukraine might hit next? Drop your strategic insights in the comments below. And here's the big question. If Ukraine can do this to Russia, what does this mean for every military in the world? Are we witnessing the death of traditional warfare? Because if Ukraine keeps pulling off attacks like this, no one will be safe. Not even you, not even me, not even our special forces, because this changes everything. Share this video with anyone who thinks they understand modern conflict, because everything just changed. Like this video if Ukraine just blew your mind, and subscribe for more deep dives into the operations that are reshaping our world. See you in the comments. And remember, in the age of drones, creativity beats firepower every single time.